morning. We'll go ahead and get started. I mean, you can say it too. It's fine. All right, good morning, and welcome to the ceremonial groundbreaking for Icon Water Trail Scott Avenue site. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Jen Cross, Vice President of Donor Relations for the Great Outdoors Foundation. I've had the privilege of leading the capital campaign and working with so many of you to secure more than $30 million privately for this project. Yeah, that's good. Today's event is an opportunity to celebrate the momentous progress achieved by Icon and its partners, many of which you will hear from today. After our brief outdoor program, we invite you inside for lunch and remarks inside of Mullet. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Dan Houston, President and CEO of Principal Financial Group and co-chair of the Icon Board of Directors, to the mic.
Thank you so much. What a great day to celebrate. Who would have ever thought you could plan this 6 weeks in advance and have this kind of weather in Iowa, right? That usually haunts us. But I couldn't help but notice as I was driving here from the office, driving by the campus there of the Principal Park, and seeing the cabin at the very genesis of the city of Des Moines. And here we are at the confluence of two major rivers that have served the community so well 200 years ago, and it still serves it well today. And then I think about the Principal River Walk and what took place over 2 decades ago, which was to try to control the rivers and keep them within their boundaries so we didn't flood out Des Moines. And now we've reached that second pivotal point where we can actually activate this river and have it work on behalf of all the people in Iowa. And I think it is, in fact, one of the most significant projects that happens every couple of decades. And again, a lot of people deserve a lot of credit. I want to start off with, though, the support of the MPO. If the MPO didn't operate in the way that it operated and was so open-minded about this project, this simply would not have happened. It would not have been possible to secure the first federal build grant for $25 million. Last time I checked, government entities don't hand out checks for $25 million unless you've got one hell of a project lined up that is going to be important to the entire community. The second is to recognize the city of Des Moines and Polk County. We talked about the $30 million being raised in the private sector, but I can assure you the city of Des Moines and Polk County, along with the feds, stepped up in a really meaningful way to make this thing happen. And I know many of those representatives, Joe Gatto over here, and Scott Sanders, and Angela will be up here in just a few minutes. It wasn't just about securing the money for those elected officials. It's their active engagement in this project to make it happen. So let's give them a huge round of applause. The MPO had a vision back in 2016 of the Greater Des Moines Water Trails and Greenways Master Plan. And we all know that you can have great ideas, but at some point in time, you've got to be able to activate those. So think 2016, and here we are today in 2023, looking over our shoulders here at what will be the original genesis of this project. But I got to tell you kind of a funny story on myself. We had a board of directors meeting here in Des Moines, and I was literally going to just sneak out to Johnston for one of the initial rollouts of one of our first projects. And Paula Deerenfield was there, who's the mayor of Johnston. She's there, and I thought this literally was going to drive out there, make a couple of comments, get back in my car, drive back to the office, and go to dinner that night with the board of directors. But not in Paula's view. That's not how you sort of break in these new projects. She hops into a kayak wearing a skirt. And I'm sitting there to myself going, I'm in a full suit and tie. So what did I do? I got into the kayak with a full suit. Little did I know how many times that picture would be thrown back in my face as you're no water guy getting on the water with a full suit. But the bottom line is that was one of the very, very first projects associated with the kickoff of the Icon Water Trails. This is more than just about recruiting and retaining great talent to this community. It's more than just recreation. It's about water quality. It's about these anglers continuing to have the venues that we preserved and wanted to make an integral part of this strategy. No one is losing in this project. Everyone is benefiting in a significant way. And again, credit goes to all the people that have been involved in getting us to this point. As I sort of close up my comments here, the Polk County Water and Legacy Bond that was passed overwhelming support in 2021 is another one of those examples of where the public said, we want this to happen. Government officials thought it was a good idea, private sector thought it was a good idea, and then the people, in fact, who end up paying for a portion of this through their taxes said, we want to be part of this. So it really has been for me a true honor and privilege to be the co-chair. Matt McKinney wanted to be here. He had a conflict with his schedule, but he wanted me to pass along his appreciation to all of you who have made this possible. Thank you for coming out on such a terrible day and suffer through these speeches. But again, it is now my privilege and my honor to introduce Angela Connolly, who again has done just a remarkable job in helping us kick off this project. Angela? So proud of you.
Thanks, Dan. Well, I don't know who ordered, but the gods ahead certainly knew the stars were aligned today for beautiful weather. So I think Hannah must have prayed a lot. As Dan said, Polk County is proud to support ICON and its, thanks, John, and its advancements. I'm just not as tall. In conservation and outdoor recreation, and this certainly fits the bill for everything that we talk about when we talk about conservation and outdoor recreation. Water quality and preservation is utmost priority for our county leadership, and there is tremendous synergy between existing water quality initiatives and ICON's conservation efforts. When I talked to my colleagues on the board, that was their number one issue. Are we going to control water quality? And I reassured them, with Hannah at the realm, Polk County Conservation, and everybody else involved, we would certainly make sure that water quality was going to be at the top of our minds. Best practices in water quality are integrated into the design of ICON. Within the build grants, the Scott Avenue Dam and Harriet Street projects, $3 million has been allocated to water quality solutions. Already, investments in ICON are being used as in-kind support for grants that leverage additional federal funding for the landowners and farmers to improve water quality through voluntary conservation practices on private land. I'll never forget the time Dan would say, you know, we really do have to work with those farmers, and we really do have to work with those farmers. They are part of the solution, and we've really come to some understanding. Hannah's done, again, a great job with leading that effort and her team. So far, an additional $20 million in federal funding has been realized through 2 public-private partnerships co-led by the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship and the Iowa Agriculture Water Alliance. These public-private partnerships are the exact mechanisms needed to move the needle on water quality in our county, in our region, and in our state, and we need to continue those public-private partnerships. ICON offers something different for everyone, as Dan mentioned. To the business sector, it's workforce attraction. To the residents, it's an amenities. To the hospitality industry, it's tourism. To recreators, it's safety and accessibility. But to all of us, it's the promise of natural resources for stewardships for our generations to come, for my children and my grandchildren. And now at this time, I want to invite Mayor Bob Anduig for closing remarks.
Thank you, Angela. As Mayor of Urbandale, I also have the privilege of this year serving as the chair of the Des Moines Area MPO. And I'm also a member of the ICON Board of Directors as well. So that's the reason that I'm here today and the hat that I'm wearing today. I do want to start by giving a shout out to the original water trails advocates for this, which is the Iowa DNR. The DNR pioneered the water trails concept in the state of Iowa and deserves credit for jumpstarting the conversation here in the greater Des Moines area. It may be hard to believe, but it's been nearly a decade since the DNR approached the MPO about developing a water trails plan for the greater Des Moines region. One of the MPO's strengths was launching projects of regional significance, and the water trails was certainly no exception. So the MPO helped lead an extensive public engagement process, and it determined there was a clear and strong support from this community to do more with our waterways. The resulting Greater Des Moines Water Trails and the Greenways Master Plan was adopted in 2016, but the work was far from over. The MPO then commissioned an engineering study to determine the feasibility and the approximate costs for those projects. The engineering study was made possible, again, as we always do this, through a number of public-private partnerships, including the MPO member jurisdictions, Catch Des Moines, the Greater Des Moines Partnership, Polk County Conservation, the Des Moines Area Association of Realtors, and the Leadership Circle of the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. This is when we see the broad coalition of supporters starting to coalesce around this Water Trails project. Ultimately, 5 regional organizations came together to form the Central Iowa Water Trails Consortium, and that's comprised of the Great Outdoors Foundation, Catch Des Moines, the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, and the Greater Des Moines Partnership, and the MPO. And then in 2019, as Dan mentioned, we caught a big break. We got the $25 million build grant, and we really need to thank our congressional delegation for the amazing support to make that possible. That funding rapidly expedited the implementation of the water trails, starting here at the center of the system, the Scott Avenue Dam that we are celebrating today. And as we celebrate, I think it's worth briefly reflecting on what got us here today. As chair of the MPO, I've had the front seat to the nuanced and sometimes difficult conversations that surround major initiatives like the Icon Water Trails. But it's a testament to the cooperative nature of our community and our region that something as wide-reaching as Icon can progress so quickly or even at all. It goes to show what can happen when individual organizations and jurisdictions come together and make investments of time and funding for the sake of the whole. So we're thrilled to be here today witnessing the culmination of planning and collaboration, not only here at the first downtown site, but also in the existing 14 access points across the entire Des Moines metropolitan region. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank the number of organizations, individuals, donors, and volunteers, and all our elected leaders at the local, state, and federal levels who supported the water trails made today possible. And as the MPO chair, I also do want to give a special call out to the MPO staff for their thoughtful planning, tremendously hard work, and their ability to help bring in the big grants. Lastly, as we celebrate this outstanding accomplishment, we must also celebrate the way our region continues to grow closer in alignment on major priorities and larger in our accomplishments. So with that, now it's the time for the ceremonial groundbreaking, and I invite everybody over to the paddles for the ceremonial groundbreaking. Thank you.
Shovel position. Everybody smile. Everybody got photos? All right, I think we're good to go. Go ahead and dig in.
So we will have remarks in a second.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Joe, get up in there. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well done. I know, right?